Millionaire CEO faces shock as Black executive blocked from meeting room with sick child. Jamal Preston stood at the gleaming glass doors of Helix Corp's Phoenix headquarters, chest tight, hands clenched at his sides. The sun poured through the sky-high windows, scattering light like shattered diamonds across the polished marble floor. Everything screamed success, except his heartbeat hammering in his ears like an alarm. His first day as CEO was supposed to be a triumph. The press buzzed about the company's first Black leader, the promise of change, the new energy Jamal would bring. But instead of cheers, an invisible wall hit him as he advanced down the corridor. At the meeting room's heavy oak door stood Rick Donnelly, facilities manager, middle-aged, with graying hair and a smirk that didn't reach his eyes. Rick leaned against the frame, arms crossed, like a soldier guarding an ancient fortress. No greetings, no handshake. Just cold, sharp defiance. "Not so fast, Preston," Rick said, voice low but loaded. "You sure you're in the right place? Pretty unusual to see you up here with your situation." His eyes flicked sideways, the unspoken insult clear. A small child Jamal was carrying, wrapped in a blanket, clearly sick and whimpering softly. Jamal froze. A tremor ran from his stomach to his throat. His mind raced. Was this a misunderstanding or a test? Was he just a man with a child or an intruder in their world? Around them, whispers bubbled up. Shadows of coworkers watching from beyond the glass walls, their faces tight, guarded. A woman's gasp cut sharp, then murmurings that slithered through the air. Suspicion and doubt wrapping the space like thick smoke. Rick's smirk turned smug. "Company policy says no personal guests in the boardroom, Jamal. You're the CEO? Sure feels like rules only come down when it suits you." Jamal's pride stung, raw and burning. All the hard work, the sacrifices, reduced to this moment, blocked by a man whose badge had no power, but who wielded it like a weapon against him. His hands trembled, but his voice didn't falter. "This meeting concerns the future of the company. No exceptions. And this child comes with me, so step aside." Rick scoffed. "Or what? I'm standing here for more than you think, Jamal. This place, it's not ready for you. Maybe you never will be." The air snapped tight, a silence before the storm. Jamal felt the weight of decades of invisible battles in Rick's words, and in the angry silence from the watching crowd. Then, defying expectations, Jamal reached out. "Come in, sit down, let's talk." Rick blinked, caught off guard. The room held its breath. Inside that room, alliances would shift, secrets spill. Lines would blur between friend and foe. The child stirred, a small cough breaking the tense quiet. Outside, eyes followed the slow opening of the door. But behind the smiles and professional facades, something far darker waited to crack this fragile new world wide open. What truth hides behind Rick's stubbornness? And will Jamal's next move save his throne or shatter it forever? Hey, before we continue, with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube removed their subscriptions without warning. Take a quick look at the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I don't want you to miss any exclusive content that's coming. And while you're there, drop a powerful like. It really helps me with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, what city are you watching from? I love getting to know each incredible person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. The door creaked open, revealing a plush boardroom interior, sleek leather chairs, and an imposing oak table. Jamal paused, heart pounding, as eyes turned in unison. The collective tension, palpable. Every gaze was a judgment, each face a question. Could this man, with a sick child in his arms, truly lead them? Rick's lips curled into a grin, masking his unease. I wouldn't stay if I were you, Jamal. You really don't want to see how deep the waters run here. He stepped aside just enough to let Jamal pass, but the threat lingered like an uninvited guest. With a purposeful stride, Jamal stepped into the room, cradling the child close. It was supposed to be a historic moment, a testament to progress. Instead, the weight of eyes bore down on him, scrutinizing, doubting. The air thickened, electric with anticipation. Let's begin, he said, forcing authority into his voice, masking an engulfing apprehension. But before he could outline his strategic vision, the room erupted with whispers, voices rising in alarm. Suddenly, a loud crash resounded, shaking the tranquility. The meeting room's door flew open, slamming against the wall, and a figure burst in. Jessica, the head of HR, her face ashen. I can't believe you're here, she exclaimed, eyes darting around the room, panicked. We need to talk, Jamal. Now! Jamal turned, confusion etched on his brow. What's going on? Are you aware? Her voice trembled. That Rick is involved in a scheme to undermine your position? He's been spreading false information about your leadership. Stakeholders are already questioning whether you're fit to lead. Rick's expression soured, his calm facade faltering. This is a lie, and you know it. Don't let her manipulate you. You don't even know half of it. Jessica shot back, eyes fierce. She took a step closer, urgency blossoming in her stance. There's more. Jamal, it's about your child. Jamal's breath hitched, pulse racing. What do you mean? Your child is not who you think. They're connected to this company in a way you've never realized. There's a legitimacy issue we have to consider, Jamal. Silence exploded. The air cracked with shock. Jamal felt as if the ground had dropped beneath him. What are you saying? My child is sick. What does that have to do with anything? But the moment shattered when Rick sneered. Oh, did you really think you could just stroll in here, flaunting your life? You're hiding a dirty secret, Jamal, and it's about to all come crashing down. Jamal's stomach dropped. Truths he had fought to protect now loomed large and menacing. Shadows draped across his heart. The whispers turned into a chaotic murmur. Confusion and gossip, spreading like wildfire in the suffocating air. But how could you? He stumbled over his words, trying to grasp the implications. Jessica's eyes softened momentarily, a flicker of compassion. There's a hidden connection to the previous CEO, your child's biological father. It's a scandal waiting to break. The weight of her words hung heavy, far beyond any boardroom politics. Jamal stumbled back, the enormity of it crashing down. The past he never knew, the present suddenly shattered. The murmurs grew louder, accusations hanging like swords, poised to strike. "You're lying. This can't be true." Jamal's voice rose, but inside his foundation quaked. Rick's smile morphed into something sinister. "Welcome to your new reality, Jamal. You're not as untouchable as you believed." The walls seemed to constrict around him, his life unraveling into chaos. Who was he meant to lead now? The child he held, once a symbol of hope, now a potential harbinger of his downfall. Outside, the echoes of uncertainty rang louder, whispers transforming into conspiracies. Jamal stood at the precipice of his world, a storm brewing within the heart of Helix Corp. What other secrets lay beneath the surface, just waiting for him to uncover? As the murmurs intensified, Jamal felt the weight of the room pressing down on him like a thick fog. The air crackled with accusation, confusion, desperation. He steadied his grip on the child cradled in his arms, desperate to frame his thoughts. "I am not hiding anything," he asserted, the tremor in his voice betraying his mounting anxiety. Jessica took a step forward, urgency radiating from her like heat waves. "Jamal, you need to listen. This isn't just about Rick. There are deeper issues at play." The door swung open again with a jarring swing, and in walked a figure clad in crisp black, a police officer, badge gleaming against the bright lights. "Jamal Preston," the officer boomed, voice steady and resolute. The room fell silent. Even Rick's sneer faded into an expression of confusion. "Yes?" Jamal's heart thundered, dread knotting his stomach. "Come with me. We have some serious questions about your child," the officer stated, locking eyes with Jamal. "We need to verify their identity and some sensitive information about their past." A gasp rippled through the crowd. Jamal's mouth ran dry, panic constricting everything within him. "What are you talking about? My child is—" "Not what you think," the officer interrupted, stepping closer, voice lowering as if the walls themselves had ears. "We received reports of an abduction. You need to come with us for the sake of this child's safety." Shockwaves cascaded through Jamal, each word a dagger to the heart. "Abduction? No, there's been a mistake. This is my child." "Is it?" Rick chimed in, excitement threading through his words. "Maybe you don't even know who you're holding, Jamal." Jamal felt the room close in, whispers swirling like a tempest. Jessica reached out, eyes wide and frantic. "You need to get out of here, Jamal. The longer you stay, the worse it will get." But he couldn't move. A guard at the door shifted, ready to block his path, their presence a quiet yet undeniable threat. "Enough!" Jamal exploded, authoritative and desperate. "You're gonna have to explain yourself." The officer held up a shaking hand, a worn envelope appearing as if conjured from thin air. "We have reason to believe the child is connected to a case involving your predecessor. There are links that could implicate you in something far beyond corporate malfeasance. Jamal's breath hitched. His mind recoiled, racing through the memories of sleepless nights and whispered doubts. What links? What do you mean? Your past is catching up with you, Jamal. The child's biological father isn't just anyone. He's tied to a syndicate that has infiltrated corporate leadership all over the state. And we need to find out if you've been compromised, the officer stated bluntly, intensity boiling in his gaze. Gasps erupted, confusion morphing into a chorus of disbelief. Jamal felt his world tilt, the ground slipping away beneath him. No, this can't be. Rick chuckled darkly. Welcome to your reality, Jamal. It's about to shatter. The child whimpered, a sound that pierced through the noise. The officer turned, assessing, urgent, yet merciless. We don't have time for this. You can help yourself by cooperating. Panic tugged at Jamal. Betrayal clawed at the edges of his mind. His dreams of leadership, the hope that cradled him, all seemed poised to tumble like dominoes. Reflections of the boardroom danced in his vision, of alliances and ambitions, now tainted by this harrowing truth. And then, in the corner of the room, someone stepped into the light. A woman, eyes blazing with purpose. The unmistakable glint of recognition sparked as she locked eyes with him. Sarah, his confidant, his closest ally. But the truth hidden within her expression suggested something starkly different. Sarah? He gasped, confusion washing over him like a storm surge. What are you doing here? Her lips parted, words hanging on the edge of revelation, poised to change everything. You need to know the truth about that child, she said, voice trembling. And about me. The sound of the crashing door behind her echoed like thunder, casting a long shadow over what he once believed to be real. The tension crackled like static in the air, thickening around Jamal, Sarah, and the bewildered crowd. He stared at Sarah, heart pounding, as her eyes flickered with urgency, drawing him closer with an invisible thread of dread. What truth? He demanded, every word laced with desperation. Just as her lips parted, ready to unveil something that felt monumental, another voice sliced through the charged atmosphere. A deep, authoritative tone. We have a situation. It was Officer Green again, eyes piercing through Jamal's moment of vulnerability. We need to move now. But before he could digest the order, chaos erupted. The boardroom's elegant glass walls shattered like ice, raining down shards of clarity into the maelstrom of deception. A figure burst through the jagged opening, a man clad in black, wearing a mask and brandishing a weapon. Screams erupted from the onlookers, panic igniting as they scrambled away from the sudden threat. Jamal's heart raced, confusion blurring into terror. What the hell is happening? He shouted, instinctively shifting the sick child away from the chaos, protective instincts surging. Hurry! Officer Green bellowed, drawing his weapon, eyes darting between the intruder and Jamal. We need to secure the child. But the masked man raised his gun, a wicked grin stretching across his face, one that sent shudders coursing through the room. No one move. This is about more than just you, Jamal Preston. His voice resonated, deep and distorted. sending a chill down the spine of everyone present. Jamal's resolve cracked as sirens wailed in the distance, closing in on their catastrophe. "What do you want?" he demanded, voice trembling, yet commanding, adrenaline propelling him forward despite the chaos gripping him. The masked man stepped closer, eyes locking onto Jamal's. "You've been chosen, Preston. It's time to reveal who you really are." Those words hung heavy in the air, dredging up tangled memories, unexpected ripples, lapping at the calm surface of his life. Chosen? For what? The man lifted a hand, revealing a pendant, a symbol Jamal recognized too well, one tied to a shadowy past he thought buried. "This child you hold isn't just yours. The truth of their lineage is a ticking bomb, and the clock is winding down." Jamal's breath hitched. "What are you talking about?" A silence fell, thick and stifling. The onlookers, held captive in horror, peered toward him, disbelief etched on their faces. The weight of reality pressed down hard on Jamal's chest, each heartbeat echoing in time with the rushed whispers of accusation and confusion. The masked man pushed through the crowd, menace in every step. The intensity of his gaze pierced through Jamal's defenses, forcing him to confront the shadowy implications lurking within the very walls of Helix Corp. "Your predecessor made a deal, Jamal, one that concerns your child. You're in deeper than you realize." "What deal?" The question escaped Jamal's lips, trembling, yet demanding answers. But before the masked figure responded, Sarah surged forward, desperation etched in her features. "Jamal, listen, we can trust him." "Shut her up!" the intruder barked, aiming the weapon at her, eyes wild with fury. "This isn't your story." Jamal felt a surge of protectiveness, panic resurging. He could feel the world tilting precariously beneath him, every truth he thought we had grasped unraveling in front of his very eyes. Suddenly, the child in his arms stirred again, whimpering softly, a reminder of what was at stake. In that moment of overwhelming chaos, the unpredictable exploded forth. Sarah lunged, shoving Jamal aside just as a pop echoed through the room. A shot fired, ringing harshly in the silence, and everything changed as screams morphed into frantic shouts. "Get down!" Officer Green shouted, moving with precision as the masked man's grip faltered. Jamal stumbled back, the terrifying realization dawning with the weight of a ton of bricks. As his world spiraled, a hidden truth clawed to the surface, a betrayal that would unravel everything he believed about himself, about Sarah, and about the child cradled in his arms. And as the chaotic scene unfolded, the shocking twist knotted deeper. Sarah wasn't merely his confidant. She was tied to his past in a manner far more intimate, far more treacherous than he had ever conceived. "Sarah, what have you done?" he whispered, every ounce of disbelief crashing like waves in his mind. Her eyes searched his, a torrent of emotions swirling within. "Jamal, I had no choice." But before she could finish, the air ignited with tension, leaving Jamal and the entire room poised on the edge of revelation, teetering toward an uncertain fate. As the echo of the gunshot faded, the masked man staggered, clearly shaken, an unexpected vulnerability flashing through the menace he had worn like armor. "Get away from her!" Jamal shouted, instinctively stepping forward, pulling the child protectively closer to his chest. But the officer remained tense, weapon drawn, surveying the burgeoning mayhem around him. Just then, the air crackled with an electric tension, and an unexpected shatter reverberated through the room as Sarah lunged towards Jamal. "Stop!" she cried, her hand outstretched, but it was too late. The masked intruder, recovering his composure, leveled his weapon again. This time, not at Sarah, but at Jamal. Then, everything shifted. With a swift motion, Sarah whipped a gleaming object from her pocket. It glinted harshly under the fluorescent lights. A badge. The insignia unmistakably tied to an elite task force within the police department. "I can explain everything," she yelled amidst the chaos, her eyes blazing with a storm of emotions. "What?" Jamal stammered, the reality of her revelation slamming into him like a freight train. "You're one of them? A part of this entire setup?" "No, it's not like that," Sarah shouted, desperation bleeding into her voice. "I was undercover. There were forces at play here that you don't understand. And yes, they involve your child." Jamal staggered backward, words escaping him, his mind reeling. The whispers around him blurred into a cacophony of confusion. Co-workers, no longer just spectators. They were witnesses to an unfolding drama that defied logic. The masked man laughed, a sound dripping with malicious delight. "You had no idea, did you, Jamal? You think you're the one holding the strings? You're just a pawn in a game far beyond your comprehension." "Enough!" Officer Green bellowed, eyes darting between Jamal, Sarah, and the intruder. "Both of you, stand down." His tone brooked no argument, but for Jamal, it was like shattering glass, each word slicing deeper into the illusions he had held. "Distance yourself from her," he barked, instinctively placing himself between Sarah and the masked threat, unearthing a primal protectiveness rooted in his soul. The masked figure tightened his grip on the weapon, but before he could act, Sarah's words charged the atmosphere anew. "Jamal, the truth is..." She hesitated, eyes darting towards the child, then back to his, fear mingling with something else, something darker. "The truth is, your child isn't just sick. They're part of something much larger, something buried with the previous CEO." A pause hung heavy, suffocating. "What are you saying?" Jamal's voice dropped to a whisper, realization dawning like a dark storm cloud. "Your child, they hold the key to a legacy that..." A tremor ran through her, vulnerability cracking the stone facade she had built through the maelstrom. The power structures in this company, in this city, they weren't just about business. They reached into dangerous territories, and your child... Suddenly, the door burst open again. Anne, her expression was frantic, urgency pouring from her. "We need to evacuate." "What's happening?" Jamal's voice edged with panic. "They're after the child, Jamal!" "That masked man isn't rogue. He's after a secret that connects deeply to Helix Corp's inner circle." Collective gasps echoed through the room, the shock merging into a tidal wave of disbelief. "Connections? Jamal's voice trembled, spiraling toward the edge of reason. He turned to Sarah, the foundation of his world crumbling. "What do you know?" Her gaze fell, unable to meet his. "There's a faction within the company. They want to harness the power of the child's lineage. It goes back decades. Hidden documents, untold stories, and connections to you, to your bloodline." In a moment of epiphany, Jamal felt the walls closing in, his identity unspooling like cheap thread. "No, you can't mean I'm part of this?" "Everyone is here for a reason. You're no longer just fighting for your position. Your very existence is on the line." As the truth began to turn everything inside out, the child stirred again, a feeble whimper that sliced through the turmoil. In that moment, everything Jamal thought he knew shattered, the question looming ominously as the room descended into chaos. What unimaginable truths lay buried, waiting to consume them all? The tension throbbed in the air, palpable and suffocating. Jamal's vision narrowed, the chaos of the boardroom swirling into a vortex of confusion and dread. He felt the child in his arms shift again, their frail whimper a haunting reminder of everything at stake. "Sarah, stop talking," he spat, desperation lacing his voice as Officer Green's gaze darted between them like a hawk surveying its prey. "Listen, you have to believe me," she pressed on, urgency cracking through her usually measured tone. "The legacy is waiting to explode, and if we don't act—" Before she could finish, a loud crash echoed from the shattered doorway, snapping everyone's attention to the ruckus. More armed figures surged into the room, clad not in masks, but in crisp business attire, their faces cold and calculating. Jamal recognized them immediately, the board members of Helix Corp. "Enough!" barked Meredith Kingston, the CFO, her voice slicing through the chaos. "Get away from him!" Her eyes were blazing, filled with an intensity that radiated danger. "We're not letting him take the child." "What are you talking about?" Jamal shouted, confusion morphing into raw fear. He looked at Officer Green, seeking support, but the officer remained tense, weapon drawn, caught between loyalty to the law and the chaos enveloping them. "This is my child!" A ripple of whispers danced through the crowded room, doubts cascading like stones in a river. The masked man's grip faltered, caught off guard by the sudden reinforcements. "You don't understand the stakes here," he growled, frustration bubbling just beneath the surface. But Meredith stepped forward, unwavering, a steely resolve radiating from her. "You think you control this situation? You're playing a dangerous game, and the child is the key." She turned to the intruder, eyes narrowing, voice dripping with contempt. "This isn't about you anymore. We have far bigger problems." Jamal felt a chill creep through the room, a darkness pooling around them. "What do you mean?" he stammered, dread coiling tightly in his gut. "Share the truth." In a flash, Meredith reached into her jacket pocket, producing an envelope thick with documents. "This is what's been hidden. Secrets buried deeper than you can imagine. It connects the company, your legacy, and your true heritage, Jamal." She stepped closer, gaze unyielding. It's time you understood who you really are. Jamal's heart slammed against his chest. What? Your family's history tied to the previous CEO isn't just a footnote, Meredith continued, thrusting the envelope toward him. It's a shocking betrayal. Your lineage is intertwined with powerful forces. Those in the shadows are pulling strings you've never recognized. As she spoke, Sarah's face blanched, realization dawning, as if a light flickered to life behind her eyes. No, that can't be. Jamal's mind spiraled, grappling with fragments of a past he had barely known. What are you saying? It felt as though the very foundations of his life were disintegrating beneath his feet. That I am somehow involved in this, that my blood ties me to this chaos. Yes, Meredith snapped, her voice cutting through the mounting confusion. You're part of it all, and it's time to choose sides. In that moment, a horrifying understanding crashed down around him, each revelation slashing deeper. A child's whimper echoed against the heavy backdrop of impending doom. Jamal's stomach twisted. The child, his child, was caught in a tangled web of corporate machinations, bloodied histories, and monstrous betrayals. Suddenly, from the depths of the chaos, the masked man bellowed. You think you can just swoop in and reclaim power? This child is the catalyst of your downfall. Jamal's heart dropped as the weight of the world clung to him. The soul-shattering truth emerged, like dark matter sucking the light from the room. What do you know about them? He rasped. The tempest swirling around him now felt unbearably intimate, his very fate tangled with the revelations spilling forth. As everyone waited breathlessly for the answer, a siren wailed outside, piercing the tumult. A panic surged through the room as fresh apprehension washed over everyone's faces, just as they braced for more thunder. A man entered the fray, one previously unseen in the turmoil, a figure emerging from the chaos, with a face Jamal recognized all too well. His long-lost father, a ghost from a past he fought never to resurface. "Dad?" Jamal's voice cracked, disbelief spilling over into anguish. "What are you doing here?" His father's expression was one of grim resolve, eyes swirling with secrets untold. "I'm here to protect you, Jamal, and to tell you the truth about everything." The air crackled with tension as the walls around him tightened. The very air seemed to pause, pregnant with unspoken words and raw emotions. In that electric moment, all eyes fixed on Jamal, waiting, hoping, fearing what might unfold next. Who would he choose to be now that his reality was shattered? And as the gun pointed toward unfathomable truths, the boardroom trembled on the edge of revelation. The air thickened as Jamal's father's eyes bore into him, an ocean of suppressed histories swirling beneath the surface. Time seemed suspended, a quiet thrum filling the room, hearts racing, breaths caught in disbelief. "I'm here to protect you, Jamal." His father's voice was raw, laced with urgency, "and to tell you the truth about everything." "Truth?" Jamal rasped, struggling to comprehend the magnitude of his father's sudden appearance. Behind him, Chaos erupted, a clash of armed figures, shrill gasps spiraling in a torrent of disbelief. The child squirmed in his arms, sensing the rising tension. What truth? The masked intruder shifted nervously, the weapon wavering in his grip. You don't know the half of it, Jamal. Your family's affairs have been covered up for generations. A power struggle intersecting with criminal ties far beyond the boardroom. Jamal's heart raced. Criminal ties? What are you saying? You're just adding to the confusion. You felt the weight of eyes watching him, dissecting him. This wasn't just about leadership anymore. It was personal, visceral. Listen to him, Jamal. Sarah's voice surged with a desperation that cut through the clamor. What he's saying could change everything. Before Jamal could respond, a loud bang echoed, shattering the fragile hold on sanity. The ceiling lights flickered as dust cascaded down, leaving a haze that obscured the edges of reality. "Get down," Officer Green shouted, gun drawn, scanning for the source of danger. The masked man lunged, fear twisting his face, and then chaos erupted anew. A second figure in black, this one wielding a knife, burst through the shattered glass, a whirlwind of darkness and intent. Shouts erupted, and in the midst of it all, Jamal's father stepped forward, a surge of authority radiating from him that froze everyone in place. "Stop!" his father boomed, and the authority behind his voice was like a thunderclap through the tumult. But even as he spoke, chaos pushed forward, the armed figures now outnumbering Jamal's allies. Then, shock tore through the room, driving a spear through Jamal's heart, as his father drew something from his coat, a glimmering object that caught the light, a family pendant, unmistakably entwined with a history that enveloped them both. The masked man fell to his knees, shocked recognition flooding his features. "You've returned, but you shouldn't be alive." His voice broke, revealing layers of fear and reverence. "Alive?" Jamal echoed, confusion colliding with visceral terror. "What do you mean?" "What's happening?" His father took a step closer, urgency in his every move. "The secrets that your mother and I buried, they're coming back to haunt us. This child you hold isn't merely a connection to a legacy." He gestured toward the child, panic bleeding into his expression. "They're a pawn in a far larger game." "What are you talking about?" Jamal's voice trembled. "You're scaring me." In that moment, Sarah's face paled as she took a halting step back, eyes wide with realization. "Wait!" her voice quaked. "You mean the child isn't yours?" The world felt like it had tilted off its axis. The knife-wielding assailant stepped closer, merging with the shadows. "He's right. This child, this is what they've been after all along. The bloodline of the original CEO. It runs right through that tiny heart." As hearts stopped, whispers encircled the room, a collective spiral of horror washing over them. The predatory air crackled with tension, the child's innocent whimpers reverberating through the chaos. Jamal staggered, confusion morphing into a jagged heartbreak. What? The forces of chaos and truth intertwined, the child's future precarious in the storm of revelation. The fabric of Jamal's world unraveled, leaving him teetering on the brink of the unknown, with ghosts of a troubled legacy clawing at the edges of every decision he would have to make. He could hardly breathe, knowing that the fight for control had transformed into a desperate race against time and hidden agendas. "Jamal," his father implored, voice urgent, "there is a powerful choice ahead. You must decide what you fight for." As the masked figures closed in, silence descended, punctuated only by the child's tremor in his arms. The implications loomed like a storm cloud ready to burst. Jamal felt the world shatter in that blink of an eye. What family ties would he sever? What alliances would he forge before the truth swallowed them all whole? The moment hung like a noose, and with a breath, he prepared to confront the vulnerability of his soul, hiding beneath layers of deception, knowing the battle was only just beginning. The air around him, eyes widened, breaths held, suspended in a moment that felt both eternal and fragile. Just as the silence began to stretch, reverberating with uncertainty, a low rumble echoed from the back of the boardroom. The very foundation beneath them seemed to quiver. Jamal turned, facing the source of the vibration, only to see the emergency exit door swing violently open, a blur of motion, launching itself into the room. A figure draped in black, armed and intent. "Get down," Officer Green shouted, but the order came too late. A flash of light erupted from the figure's weapon, blinding and overwhelming. A deafening shot rang out, and everything spun in a frenetic whirlwind of chaos. The masked intruder stumbled backward, eyes wide, with shock at a wound now blossoming crimson across his chest. He fell, collapsing against the polished oak table, sending papers scattering like autumn leaves. The room erupted in screams, frantic bodies. "Who the hell is this?" Meredith Kingston screamed, her hands flailing as she ducked behind the marble pillar. The chaos only intensified as the new figure stepped forward, shaking off a cloak to reveal a familiar face. Alicia, Jamal's estranged sister, and a shadow from a past he thought had been long buried. Jamal's breath caught in his throat. "Alicia?" "Yes, Jamal," she shouted, urgency spilling from her every word. "You have to remember. It's not just about the legacy. It's about keeping the child safe." Safe from what? Jamal's stomach twisted, the new wave of confusion crashing over him. "What are you doing here?" "The family's in danger, Jamal." Alicia stepped closer, urgency painted across her features. "They want to control you, to use the child as leverage. You're all in grave peril." In an instant, everything shifted. Memories rushed in, fractured fragments of their tumultuous childhood, secrets whispered between their parents, an understanding long ignored. They hadn't been mere children. They had been pawns in a much larger game. Jamal's mind raced, grappling with Alicia's appearance and her dramatic proclamation. "What do you know?" he stammered. "What have you been hiding?" "You don't understand," she cried, urgency burning in her gaze. "The legacy runs deep, and there are players within this room who'd betray you in an instant. Rick is working with them, isn't he? He aims to take the child away for good." Gasps erupted. The atmosphere thickened, heavy with betrayal and fear. Jamal felt the ground beneath him shift, the walls closing in as realization seeped through the chaos. "You're lying. Rick wouldn't." "Wouldn't he?" Alicia's voice shook every thread of his resolve. "He's not just a facilities manager. He's been working for the consortium, aiming to seize control. This is bigger than just a company, Jamal. It's a blood war. You're caught in the middle of it." Shouts blended into a cacophony of confusion, each revelation splintering his composure. Jamal could feel the pulse of its heart, beating in desperate rhythm against the mounting weight of buried secrets. The child in his arms stirred, sensing the chaos, perhaps sensing the shifting tides of the family legacy. "Jamal, please." Alicia's voice broke through the noise. "We need to get out of here. Now!" And just as he was beginning to grasp the enormity of the moment, the lights flickered again. Darkness threatening to envelop them once more. What other secrets lay hidden below the surface? How deep did the conspiracy run? The room teetered on the brink of implosion, and the stakes had never been higher. Jamal met Alicia's gaze, one filled with pain, urgency, and something else, something that felt like betrayal. "You left me," he whispered, the weight of that past hitching painfully on his tongue. "Because I had to," she shot back, eyes steady, pleading for understanding amid the maelstrom. "You mean everything, Jamal. You just don't remember. But you will." As the chaos reigned around them, with allies turned foes, and family ties now under siege, one thing became achingly clear. The truth would either shatter them all or bring them back together. And as he cradled the child closer, the looming specter of legacy and betrayal hung sharp in the air. The quest for control had transformed into a desperate race for survival. A fight that would unveil what truly lay beneath the skin of Helix Corp. The air thrummed with urgency, every heartbeat a reminder of the precarious moment they were trapped in. Jamal's gaze swung between Alicia's pleading eyes and the chaos swirling around them. Desperation clawing at his chest. The shattering glass, the terrified faces, it was all too much. He was at the crux of revelation and betrayal, and yet the truth hung just out of reach. "Jamal," Alicia urged, stepping closer, her expression flickering between determination and fear. "We need to move before they realize who you are." But before he could respond, the room trembled again. A deep, resounding boom reverberated through the walls, vibrating against the polished marble. Jamal felt the ground shift subtly beneath him, a sinister vibration, like a pulse coursing through the very foundation of Helix Corp. He clutched the child tighter, instinctual fear rising like bile in his throat. "What was that?" Meredith demanded, glancing toward the ceiling as if it might answer. The question sliced through the tension, leaving them all momentarily paralyzed. Just then, An echoing voice broke through the mayhem, silky smooth, yet dripping with malice. "What's this? A family reunion?" Mallory Hastings, the enigmatic chairperson of the board, stepped into the room like a specter, her heels clicking ominously against the tiles. The moment her gaze fell on Jamal, a predatory gleam sparkled in her eyes. "What do you want, Mallory?" Jamal managed to spit out, instinctively shifting to protect the child from both her gaze and the escalating chaos. "Don't play coy with me, Jamal. You think you're the underdog? You might just be the key to our future," she replied, her voice layered with sinister amusement. The other board members seemed to lean in, hunger etched into their expressions, anticipation crackling through the crowd. "What do you mean?" Jamal's heart raced, every instinct screaming for retreat. Suddenly, Mallory laughed, a short, dry sound that echoed ominously. "Oh dear, you really don't know." She paused, allowing the weight of silence to intensify. "You're not just related to the previous CEO. You are his true heir, the child." She turned her gaze to the child nestled in Jamal's arms. "Isn't just any child. She's part of a bloodline that links to power far beyond corporate greed." The air shifted like a knife, cutting through water, and Jamal felt the earth's gravity pull him down, words landing like lead in the pit of his stomach. "What are you talking about?" he demanded, voice thick with disbelief. "She's my child." Mirroring his agitation, Alicia stepped closer. "Jamal, listen to her. The legacy isn't what you think. It's deeper, twisted in ways we never understood back then." Mallory's eyes brightened, a predator relishing a fresh discovery. "You see, Jamal, that child, she's a key player in a game you've barely begun to comprehend. You possess a power that could reshape everything." "What power?" Jamal shouted, pushing through the fog of confusion, suffocating him. "Stop twisting my reality." But in a surreal twist of fate, the lights flickered one last time, then plunged everything into darkness. Shouts of terror rang out as the room erupted into chaos again, the sounds of bodies colliding and panic setting in. Jamal felt a sudden shift, a pull on the child in his arms. Suddenly, as if conjured from the shadows, an unexpected figure emerged. A tall, rugged man with eyes reminiscent of a bygone era. "Jamal," he called, voice carrying through the disarray, familiarity lacing the air. "It's time to wake up." Shock settled like ice in Jamal's veins. The man, an image from fragmented memories, was his estranged uncle, a man presumed dead. "Uncle Paul?" Jamal's voice faltered, the lurch of surprise making his heart race even faster. "What are you doing here? Everything you've been told is a lie." Paul shot back, urgency surging through every word as he advanced. "Those in this room hold secrets that could change you forever. Trust no one." As Jamal grappled with the unfathomable revelation, a resounding crash split the air. A flock of security guards surged through the hidden entrance behind Paul, eyes alight with vengeance. "You've overstayed your welcome, Jamal," he sneered. In an instant, the fabric of Jamal's reality twisted again. His heart thundered in his chest. Betrayal licked at the edges of his mind. Who could he trust? The room teetered on the brink of calamity, every breath spiraling into a nightmare where alliances unraveled faster than threads in a fraying tapestry. And then everything clicked into place. The identity of the child, the power-hungry chaos, and the presence of his uncle painted a terrifying picture. Jamal could only whisper the question that clawed at his throat, his voice barely audible above the tumult. "What's the real truth, Uncle?" A fleeting expression crossed Paul's face, one of deep regret and fear, as he stepped forward into the light's dim glow, ready to reveal all. But the shout of chaos cut him off mid-sentence, leaving Jamal suspended on a precipice, waiting for the impending revelation that might destroy everything he thought he knew. Jamal felt the weight of the room pressing down on him. Rick and the security team advanced, but Uncle Paul stepped between them, determination hardening his features. "This isn't your show, Paul. The company needs direction, not chaos." But as the tension crackled, Jamal had an unexpected spark of clarity. He took a deep breath, cradling the child in his arms. "No more lies," he said, his voice steady. "It's time we uncover the truth, whatever it is." Paul nodded, grateful. "Jamal, I can explain everything. Your mother and I hid you away to protect you from those who wanted our legacy for themselves. They will come after you again if we don't act fast." Rick stepped forward, sneering. "You're a fool to think you can expose anything without consequences. We have influence, and we won't let you ruin it." Before Jamal could respond, Officer Green took charge. "Listen up. This isn't a game anymore. It's about safety. We're taking the child and getting everyone out." With a swift motion, he directed the security team to form a protective barrier around them. The chaos began to quiet, uncertainty growing into resolution. Jamal's heart raced, but he felt a surge of courage. "Let's go, everyone. We have a legacy to secure and a future to fight for," he said. Alicia stepped beside him, her eyes fierce. "We're not running away. We're taking our stand." The conviction in her voice rallied the others. They would fight, not just for the child, but for the future they could create together. With hands clasped tightly around the child, they moved as one, out of the boardroom and into the light. Jamal felt a shift inside him, a sense of purpose tightening around his spirit. The old legacy had crumbled, but from its ashes, a new beginning could rise. Outside, first responders were already lining the path, chaos of flashing lights and urgent voices. Jamal turned to his family, heart swelling. "We will be okay. We'll clear our names and build something we can all be proud of." Alicia smiled, and even Paul's stern features softened as they faced the uncertain future. They were united, bound by a shared resolve. As they stepped forward, fingers intertwined, Jamal felt the weight of the child in his arms, a living symbol of hope. "We will protect her, together." But even then, as they left the boardroom behind them, he caught a glimpse of Rick retreating into the shadows, smirk still lingering on his lips. Jamal's stomach turned. Victory felt far away. The door closed quietly, leading them away from confrontation into the unknown. But fear was little match for the strength they had found in one another. The world outside glimmered under the warm sun, a vast expanse of possibilities waiting to be written. And just as they emerged into the light, the child stirred. A small cough escaped her lips, not of illness, but of something else. An echo from the past, a voice from shadows forgotten. Jamal glanced back once more, wondering what secrets still lurked beneath the surface, ready to shatter their newfound peace. If this marked a new beginning, what other twists would fate throw their way? Now don't forget to subscribe immediately to the channel so you won't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm. Flood the comments with your reactions and theories about how it all ends. And share this video right now with at least 5 friends who need to know how this ends. This is the moment to show your support. Don't wait another second to share. You must subscribe now. Only true fans understand the importance of supporting the channel through these acts.